Hello and welcome to the Novel Creature Network. I'm your host, Montrez, author of Errant, your superpowered urban fantasy, and your next favorite portal fantasy, Labyrinth Park. And today I am here with the amazing, the phenomenal, multi-talented Winnifred Tataw. Thank you so much for being on here today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes. So you are up to a lot of stuff. From the like you already have like a plethora of books out. You've got a blog, you do artwork, you are all over the place in the best possible way. Truly a creative force to be reckoned with and really repping the indie community and showing so much love yourself. I had to have you on here to show you some love and to celebrate all the amazing things you've got going on. So, for those who don't know, Winnie is not only an author, she's a blogger, and she's gotten into publishing. You have your own publishing company. And so, we're going to get into all of that. So, I wanted to talk about your author origin story. How did you become an author? And I guess in general, a creative, because you do a lot of different creative things.
So for me,
Mhm.
I always say art and writing were my chicken and egg. I don't know which one came first for me, but I've always been a lover of storytelling and writing stories and creating work. So I've been writing and creating art since I was a baby. And 2019, I published my first novel, Child of Tempest, and it was again just through the support of my friends and family saying like you should, especially my parents, pushing to say like all these stories you're telling us, you should probably try if you can write a book, try just see it. And I was like, all right, so I started and I fell in love with it from writing to marketing to book cover designing, editing. That's a little, but everything else, yes, I definitely fell in love with. And I just loved the process. And I loved getting to meet new authors and learn more about the literary industry, which was really like an eye opener for me to just, again, connect with other people who do such amazing things. And, just expand my imagination, which I always try to do. Daily because I really do love art and the act of creating artwork and the act of creating stories. So when I did get to finally start publishing, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was excited to start on this journey and kind of learn as I grow and be able to then help and support other people along the way as I wish I would have had a little more support and guidance as I started my own writing journey too.
Yes, and I think you touch on something important because I think a lot of times people think that, writing is a solitary thing or being a creative is like a solitary venture. And yes, we can do it by ourselves, but like you're sharing, it's so much easier when you have that extra support. Like you can do it by yourself, but you don't have to. And so I definitely want to say thank you for, all the support that you've given into our indie community and just beyond. Um, but like along those lines, what would you say is your creative superpower?
I think I would say my creative superpower is the kind of the act of creating new ideas. I think I always say I make more new to be read and written books than I do actually writing. So I think just I'm always exploding with new ideas, and I really do take a lot of inspiration from just places I go, the people I meet. Example, I was at a convention a couple of weeks ago, and on my way back home, I had a whole new story, fantasy, steampunk thing written out in my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, now I have to write this down on paper and get it out to other people. So I think my creative superpower would be just the power of creating, just being able to just take inspiration from the things around me and create stories and characters and plot lines that are fun and engaging and just as magical as I try to be.
I love it. So your superpower is definitely staying inspired and just drawing everything and creating new stories that way. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it makes sense because something that always stuck out about kind of like what you do and your personality and the work you create. Let's talk about your glittery pink lens outlook. What is that? So if you read her bio and you read her page, Winnie talks a lot about you had a slogan in 3 words where you talk about, I believe it's live, laugh, and love. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
So let's talk about that because I think we need more of that, and that really helped me to kind of connect. Like when you look on your website, you look at the things that you post. We do see a lot of pink in your aesthetics, but I think there's way more to that that outlook that needs to be explored. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I always say, if I let me see if I after all these years remember it right, but I think it's live to read, love to write, laugh at mistakes,
Mhm.
and then combining that with always looking things through a glittery pink lens was basically my way of showing that Wynn's books in its essence when I started this was about again community and support. That's like our number one or number two things is making sure that the community I'm representing and supporting feels that love and energy that I give out, and feels just as magical working with me, interacting with me, just as I feel when I interact with others. I really wanted to be both a open and safe space for others who may not have the chance to get their stories out there,
Yeah.
for whatever reason it may be, but also being a staple of just fun, magical um, presence and my little corner. I see my little magical corner of the internet. So really, of course, obviously pink is my favorite color. Um, but I also like to see it as a color of like joy and energy and again, my way of connecting with people and my way of really getting to be inspired by others and hopefully inspiring others, either whether that be in their creative endeavors, um, and just watching us all grow together. I love going to different events and writing events and meeting new readers and meeting old fans. And it's fun because again, you just give out good energy and everyone just receives it and gives it back out to you. And I just love doing that. And I really, again, hope that Wynn's Books continues to be the staple of community building and support for young creatives, old creatives, people who are still trying to find out what type of creative they are.
Right.
But really, again, just a symbol of community support, love, and good energy and pink.
Yes, I love it. When I saw that, I'm like, I gotta ask her about this. But so we talked about kind of like your superpower, how you stay inspired and like you come up with stories just like immersing yourself in life and connecting with the community and others. But let's talk about your kryptonite. What is your creative weakness?
My creative weakness would probably have to be my impatience. Because just as quick as I am to get in a new idea, I'm quick to be like, okay, yeah, let's start rolling with this. And it's like, okay, Winnie, you have other responsibilities you've already started and needed to finish. Example, the God Silence series, the fifth book is coming out this August. And like I said earlier, I already have a new series. I'm like, oh yeah, let's get this rolling. Forgetting that I have like 4 other series and books and work in progresses that are like, we're still here too.
Right.
So I think my impatience um, is my kryptonite because as soon as I get a new creative idea, I want to delve into it and expand it. But I also have to learn that or continue to learn and make sure I pace myself and know that
Oh man.
I have other creative endeavors um, that I've already been working on. And I think one way I do have that is again through helping other authors, because when I get to level myself or level them, I get to level myself. I always tell everyone I work with, I do not like to push people. I don't like to be like, okay, we have this, like, we all have very busy lives. We all have things that happen. Life happens. Life can be really hard for a lot of us. So I never want anyone I'm connecting with to feel that I'm this extra amount of stress to
Right.
an already stressful life. Again, I want you to be able to come and talk to me. I want you to be able to, like, if you just, hey, Winnie, I need a rant about the editor, or I need a rant about my book reader writer's block. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to be there, and again, be a place of support. So as I'm trying to teach others and support others in their journeys and making sure they go at their own pace, I also learn how to also slow down my pace, and just make sure that I am still, you know, being able to, when I start, I'm also finishing what I started, in timely manners. So I have it now set that yes, I have all my to be written work in progresses. They're all lined up, but again, I one at a time try to the God Science book 5 got to come out first, and then the series
Oh,
finale, and then
right.
we can start looking at what we're gonna do next. So yeah.
Definitely. That pacing is so important because you don't want to burn out and you want to be able to get all, and appreciate all the beautiful things that you're putting into the world. So definitely. That's awesome. So you are a tour guide, and if you could take us on a tour of kind of like the universe and the world that you're building, what does that look like? What are like some of the major things that we're going to find in your books that we wouldn't find in other fantasy?
Oh yeah, definitely my books. The God Science series, especially, is I am a big lover of mythology and learning about other cultures and backstories of like mythical beings and creatures from around the world. So heavily, heavily based in mythology. I made my own god system. So there's four main gods: God of time, death, space, and life. And you follow each book kind of focuses on one god, and then the gods kind of not avatar but their acolyte in the earth that they live in. And with that, there's a lot of royalty, there's a lot of battles, a lot of amazing different races. There are some people who only can control shadows. There are some people who are half human, half dragon, half human, half snake. I have mermaids, fairies, cyborgs, all of those good things kind of wrapped up into this universe. Everyone trying to work together, but not trying to actually work together because they don't really like each other. But
Right.
for peace sake, they at least try to do so, and they do it all under the guise of these four gods that kind of play more like, again, background roles of watching over um their creations, but sometimes they have to step in and tussle a little bit because sometimes the children don't listen. So you really get to immerse yourself in a world of, like, again, just magic and um a lot of lore and culture that I create, and again take inspiration from my culture. I'm Cameroonian. My parents were both from Cameroon, and then I was born here in the States. So I take a lot of inspiration from that, my culture, as well as others in Africa, and then all around the world as well. So really being able to expand and grow in this world, and again, just see like all the different deities, all the different ways the gods interact with humans and ways they don't interact. So it's really cool. And yeah, if you're a lover of mythology, and you're a lover of gods and goddesses, I am your girl. That's like my bread and butter. So definitely check out the God Science series if that's all your bread, butter, and jam.
Definitely. I mean, like you said, from mermaids to cyborgs, you've got like hybrids of all kinds. Like, guys, step into this, step into this. So that brings me to another question. What is your favorite character or your favorite type of creature that you have kind of created? Like, with all the different types of species, like yeah, what's your favorite?
I would probably have to be the Umbrians, which are the people who control shadows, and then the illusionists, which are like my magic system users. I think those are my favorite, particularly the characters Princess Arcelia and then Duchess Rona. Um, they Rona is a she can control magic, and then Arcelia is a Umbrian, so she can control shadows. And I really just love that concept of being able to wield things that, like, we can't physically really, like, I can't touch my shadow, but like they're able to, manipulate those things. And also, I originally, the magic system I was creating, I was like, oh, it's going to be like a simpler magic system, not too complex. They can just move a couple of things, do a little this and that, and it has not ended up just being a little simple magic system. It's a lot more complex, and it's an integral part to the ongoing series and storytelling of the book. So, whoops. But I really love, again, anytime I can really write about those characters and their powers and kind of the lore and history of those of their tribes and cultures too. I think those are definitely my favorite.
So that's amazing. And I think some of the things that I want to touch on, you talked about traveling a lot. And I know we had kind of, guys, we like to do like a novel creature question on here, but I think this is an interesting topic to explore because also in, a lot of the information, kind of like when you share your history and your background, you traveled a lot. So what is your favorite place that you've ever been, or what place has inspired you the most in your writing?
So I've been back to Cameroon, and that was, of course, amazing to be with family. And we, again, just, it felt like home, just being back and, visiting like all these momentous places and just the history, learning about them. And also, my mother was in the military. So again, we moved a lot. So I used to live in Germany, and, going through the castles, and that also always gave me inspiration, even as a young kid. So I think those would be my top two places that I had lived, that I really loved and enjoyed. And you kind of see that love of traveling a lot in the God Science series, because every book you're not stagnant in just one castle. Like, they move, they travel, they battle in space, they battle in time, they battle in the desert. I just have everyone fighting in every biome and climate known to man. So I really, again, just kind of took my love of traveling and said, how can I make all my characters fight in like different and different aspects and different scenes and different areas. So yeah, that's probably how you see my love of traveling depicted in my books, is just where the characters decide to fight today is
That's
usually
beautiful.
how that, yeah.
That's amazing because I think a lot of times in stories, we see staple locations like New York City, guilty. I did that for my you see like New York City, maybe California, you have your London, you have Egypt for certain things. You know what I mean? You have certain
Yeah.
locations. And so I think it's amazing that you can take inspiration from so many different places and create like these fantastical worlds. I think that's amazing. And like not just that, but you're creating like a culture in your books where you've got like a mythological system that draws from so much. and you have these characters. Can we talk about that for a minute? You said that
Yes.
you have characters that work together, but they don't really work together. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think another ironically big thing about these books is family. And if you kind of read like the book covers, like Child of Tempest, Descendants, Sisterhood. So all of these kind of again harper back to like family dynamics and again kind of like these functional dysfunctional families that in on stage they have to be like, oh yeah, we're a great family, we love each other, kiss kiss hug hug, but when the cameras turn off, like no one wants to talk to no one. No one's like, I don't trust you, I don't trust your baby, I don't trust your dog. Like I no I if I don't have to deal with you, I wouldn't. So a lot of the characters have to deal with again being also being entrapped in these instances where they have to deal with greater powers. They have to work with each other because I have no choice. We're in, especially for like the characters who are again, they're also royal descendants, so there's that other layer of having to be in the limelight, having to be perceived one way, and then also having to make sure that you're ruling countries, and then you have gods and goddesses and people with greater powers trying to take over things. So really exploring all these interconnected dynamics and kind of, especially with the characters, I even though like a lot of them again they're traveling to like these different places, which I don't set it in the real world, so it's its own magical earth, I call it. I know I didn't give it a fancy name for the planet, but it's its own magical planet that has its own different countries that even though they're hundreds of miles away, like something in the past connects them, or something in the future is going to connect them back to each other. So again, kind of again like a family tree, like you see all these interconnections, all these branching roots still lead to one line, one lineage. So really finding out how that happens and why it happens is what I loved writing and exploring in the stories as time went on too.
that's fantastic. And I think you recently just put out like a redesign for your covers, and the original covers were already like stunning. And then guys, she turned around and she whipped out like these brand new covers that are just
Yes, and
amazing.
I actually have them. So the first covers, they're still the original. It's the not hardback. I'm trying to get out the glare, but the paperback covers, which again love them so much. And then for kind of the anniversary of it's the fifth year of Child of Tempest, and with the launch and celebration of the publishing company, I decided to do hardback versions of the book covers, and they have different covers, or excuse me, different characters on each cover, and I just again, I was so excited because it looks so great. This is my proof copy, but I was so happy when it came in because just looks
It's
magnificent.
absolutely
And
stunning. Absolutely.
yes, so if I kind of, and you can also see the size difference. The hardback's a bit bigger than the paperback, but again, I wanted to make sure they both still look cohesive to each other. I'll just hide my face. Cohesive to each other, but also have that different flair to them. And again, my cover designers are so great, and I just loved how these covers came out because you can tell they're still the same book, but again, they just have that awesomeness to them, and I was just so excited how they
Yes,
came
that's
out.
something to be excited about. And like you said, you can still see that cohesion. They have the same colors, kind of like the same themes and like symbols, but just gorgeous. We had to, I'm glad you had it. We have to show that. Um, but yeah, so like guys, tap into her books and just get lost in the worlds that Winnie has created, because there's something there for everybody. You know, if you want good fantasy travel, if you want complex characters and relationships, the political intrigue, the family drama, she's got it all. She's got it all. So tap into that. And again, let us know, what is your dream vacation spot, or where would you like to travel? And let us know that in the comments. And then, so we've talked about your books, and you've mentioned how you have, like, community is really important to you, offering support for other authors. You have something exciting going on. Let's talk about that. But first, like, dive into all the other things you have too, and lead us up to the big announcement, because it's huge. Like, you can't just drop that and be like, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm doing this. But bring us up to that, because this is a whole nother aspect of your journey. Not only are you a writer, but you're a support for other authors and writers as well.
So I can kind of take it back to the beginning. Um, it happened. I started Wynn's Books in 2019, a couple of months after I had published my first novel, Cloud of Tempest. And basically, what happened, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing with marketing, so let me go to the internet. And I saw they said, oh, like another way to like promote your books, you can do a blog while you're writing. I was like, okay, I write already. This should be easy. So I started Wynn's Books blog, and originally it was, at the beginning, it was literally me just blogging about just anything and everything under the sun. And then came, as I continued to grow, and I released the second book in the series, Descendants of Time and Death. That's when, of course, COVID hit. So it was 2020, and we were all at home, and I had gotten sick and tired of doing book interviews, and them just being very either too expensive, because I also, as I'm creating and writing these books, I was still in my undergrad, so I was still going to college, so didn't have really much money yet. Then also a lot of them were just tell us about your book. How long have you been writing? What's your favorite part about writing? What's your least favorite part about writing? And that was about it. And I was just tired of always having, like, I want to put myself out there, but there's not really, I don't know who to reach out to. I don't know how to get connections. I don't know what to do. And I said, well, I know what I can do is that I can start trying to support other authors. And I went into one of my Facebook groups, and I said, hey, I'm starting to do author spotlights and book spotlights, because I want to highlight other indie authors. Because as much as I love to read, or as much as I love to write, I love to read. So I also wanted to get some new books. So I said, if anyone's interested, like, let me know. We can, do a little interview. And I posted on my blog, and it's there until you tell me to take it off. And it just blew up from there. And I soon became the person known to help indie authors. Like, I can't tell you how many authors and writers that came to me and saying, hey, someone recommended you because they told me that you're good for people who don't know what they're doing, or you're good for new authors or new writers. And I'm like, yep, I'm the lady. So I just continued, and that led me to publish the Authorpreneur Yellow Pages, which is an ebook that has over 40 different services of different authors, book businesses, etc., and kind of things and ideas of how to publish your own novel. And again, as I just continued on this journey for the next couple of years, I kept seeing more, as more people came to me wanting support and services and guidance. People also started coming to me to publish. And for like a couple of years, I was like, I need to get all my ducks in a row before I publish. Because again, it's not just me publishing. Like, yes, I can make a mistake with my books, and get it sorted out. But, me doing that for someone else is different. This is their dream too. This is their baby too. So, I'm used to, like, if I mess up the sizing of something, I can go back and fix that. And, that's easy. I understand why that happens, but it's not something I would want to get for someone else. And again, I didn't want it to be a one-woman show when I started. If I would have opened a publishing company even just 3 years ago, I think it wouldn't have lasted long. Just because, again, it would have been more of just Winnie and maybe Winnie's parents and some of her friends who had some free time between their busy lives and schedules. And I just didn't think that was fair. I thought, like, if I'm going to open a publishing business and have publish and provide a la carte services, whether it be editing, book cover design, hybrid services for publishing, like, it can't just be all me. One, because I'm also still publishing my own books, and I'm also I'm doing a lot more events now, and I'm doing a lot more events now, all over the place. So I said, I need to, if I'm going to do this, I need to be more invested in, again, connecting with other writers and authors and services. So that was kind of my goal for 2022 and forward, was, again, just connecting. That's when I started the membership program, which the Mystic Writers, which is going to get a facelift probably next year as well, as, again, things have changed, especially with the publishing company coming in play. And again, it was me just, again, reaching out to people I've worked with before and reaching out to authors I know who, started just writing, and then now they're like, okay, I have a full business and, like, Novel Creature Network, they have a full services and provide other things to help and support other indie authors. And I think then last year I was like, okay, I listed who I know I can combine services with to help support authors, to help publish, to make a full-sized book. It's a full team of people helping you create this story. And we had some authors, come up and be signed on, and I'm super excited. So again, knowing that, again, I can't do it alone. Again, our whole thing is about community, and I knew, I was like, if I'm going to preach, we have to support each other and be community partners. Then there's, like, I can't just do a full publishing company by myself. Like, yes, if it's just Winnie on Win's Books publishing her one book every 2 to 3 years, that makes sense. But now it's Winnie and maybe 3 authors a year, or maybe 4 authors. And, I can't, again, if I want to make sure they have great books that are getting published and their stories being told, I didn't think it was fair or right to be the only one to be like, oh yeah, I can do everything. It's like, no, lend a hand and another hand will lend you a hand. So again, supporting other authors, supporting other indie small businesses. I'm always a big supporter of small businesses, especially creatives, because there's room for us at the table. I always say to all my authors, I say, listen, you can never have too many books. Right. I don't care what anyone says. I've met, I think a couple of weeks ago, I met one lady who had over 4,000 books in her home. And she bought all 4 of my books too that day. So yeah, so you can trust me, you can never have too many books. You can never stop falling in love with new ideas and new stories, or wanting to, the same thing, like, you can never have too many TV shows. You can never have too many movies or theater productions. It's, art is not something you can have, there's a stop to it. Like, yeah, you can have too many cars. You can have an excessive amount of houses, but, like, books, no, because all of these are different stories and different writers and different ideas and backstories and, just creations, experiences. Yep. So I really want, again, to be someone who supports that. I knew I needed to, again, reach out to my fellow indie community, and I got overwhelming a lot of support, which again, I'm so thankful for, and just happy that I was able to, open our doors and, start helping other authors learn about the publishing world and, take them on this journey.
And I think that's important. I want to backtrack a little bit because you dropped a lot of gems. First of all, you have a whole directory of services that like authors, creatives, you can get on that. She's got like a whole book that you can purchase that has a list of people that you can contact for services. So you don't ever have to wonder like where do I go for editing? Where do I go for this? Where do I go for that? She's got a whole book. And then on top of that, you've got your writers membership. So there's lots of support and things of that nature. This is the woman you go to if you have questions. Like she's got a one-stop shop here. Not only do you have the directory and the membership, but there's a podcast, I believe, too, isn't there, that you have connected with?
Yes, so it's the LOL podcast, and I work with these two wonderful women, and they also love to interview other people within the literary world, from everyone from book coaches to editors to other authors, and book business owners. So it's always great working with them, and again, supporting other small businesses and supporting other literary works and people in the literary industry, because I think for a lot of, especially new writers, again, there's always so much influx of information you can get that it's nice that you can go to one place and know who you're talking to and know like, okay, this person has been through this, they understand it, and they're happy to help guide me through this too.
Yes, so you've got plenty of resources, tools. You've got just a whole community of help and love and support there. And then on top of it, now we have a publishing company. You are a publisher, and you've already got authors like signed in contract. So that's amazing right there. And I think one of the important things that you've talked about that I really appreciate you saying is that it could just be a one woman show where I'm doing all of this, but you recognize and understand that you can make a greater impact when you allow others and you trust others to kind of help you with that. Because, yeah, again, we can do it all by ourselves, but when you have others who can lend a hand and that you can connect with, you've got like a healthy, thriving ecosystem with that. And so that's awesome. And I appreciate too because you emailed me for things, and you've been there to support me along my journey too. So I can tell you guys personally that Winnie is just an amazing human being, an amazing creative. And definitely her information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to her website, her blog, check out her books, her services. If you want to if you're a reader and you want to write your own book, definitely check out the resources and the support that she offers. It's amazing. And but let's dive a little bit more into kind of like your publishing. So you have opened your publishing. You're open for submissions currently. And what type of books are you taking?
So we are focusing on all speculative fiction, as well as poetry, memoirs, and other support books. So other books that are written to help support writers and authors as well. Those are kind of and romance. Those are kind of like our top five. Sorry if my math is wrong. Genres we are taking, but again, heavily focused on storytellers telling stories. I really, that's kind of my forte, because I'm a storyteller and I love other storytellers. So I really wanted to highlight people who tell stories, whether it be their own, whether it be others, whether it be characters they create. So making sure like they have a platform and voice to do so. and do so openly, and know that, I'm here to also support. I found out again through the years that not every publisher is maybe, I would say, maybe the right one for you. So, if you come to me and you're like, hey, can you publish my cookbook? And I'm like, I would love to, but I can cook, but I don't know anything about going into like publishing a cookbook, or, that's not really what we focus on, or what the audience that we know to market to and promote to. So, I'm not, I think there's space for everyone. So I'm not going to be like, oh, sorry. Like, I'll say, I'm sorry, I can't publish you, but here's some people I know who can, or here's some people I think you should reach out to. Because again, like you kind of mentioned earlier, there are a lot of different resources out there, and there's a lot of different publishers. So not, if I'm not the best fit for you, I trust me, I probably know someone who will be. So, never hesitate to reach out, because even if I always say no means next opportunity.
Right.
So if, I'm not the opportunity for you to get published, don't worry. I will be sending you others that, you can reach out to see if you get a better chance at publishing. And if not, you can still come back to me and I can teach you all the ways about self-publishing, and we can go from there too.
Yeah, and I think you bring up something important. It's not when you get, quote unquote rejection, it's not really rejection. It's not that there's anything wrong with your book or, your story. It's more so that you have to find the right home, finding the place that is, the best environment for your story. And so I think it's really important for anyone who is looking for a publisher to do your research. Don't just apply, don't just submit to anybody just because they're a publisher. Protect your baby. Try look at it like you're finding your book, your story, that's your book baby, and you're trying to find it the best possible home to thrive, to grow, and to meet all the readers that are looking just for what you have. And so it's important to do your research, number one, because like when he said, like, she doesn't do cookbooks. So if you submit your cookbook, it's an automatic no, guys. So and that's just something you hear a lot from publishers, like, I don't publish this. They're not researching, they're not doing, so do your research, do your homework, look to see what is required on the submissions page, because you're going to help the publisher help you. you know
Yes.
um and Winnie, you could probably attest to this. You probably get like hundreds of emails, and you'll probably get more and more as people find out about, what you do. And so it's important that when, publishers open your emails, that it's what they're looking for and that you have all the information needed. But can you give us a couple of tips on what to expect with your submission process, and what
Yes.
type of publisher you are? Because there are so many different types of publishing. We hear, when you hear about publishers, you hear about the top five, like Macmillan, and all the different, like, traditional.
Yep.
Yeah.
But for me, kind of some tips. Number one, just formatting. You don't have to have your manuscript completely edited, but it needs to be complete. So that's number one. Because it's hard to really digest the book that isn't finished. I know some publishers are like, oh yeah, we can help you write the ending. No, no, no. I need to know the ending. I do not like a cliffhanger. So always make sure when you're submitting, it's your full completed manuscript. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% edited, but, just readable, and, double spaced in either Word or PDF. Again, making sure I know, like, what, like, give me on the synopsis at the front, like kind of like a cover letter, like, hey, this is my book, this is what it's about. So you go in. So again, I'm not like, okay, you didn't mention any of this. Like, because you just saying, oh yes, this is a sci-fi novel. there's a lot of different genres in sci-fi, and we know you can be Afrofuturistic, you can be steampunk, you can be like new age. Like there's a lot of different genres and subgenres within genres. So making sure you're able to give like a clear idea of like, hey, like what's your elevator pitch to me about your book. Um, Again, knowing that kind of like Mantra said, like I get a lot of emails throughout the day. I do answer all of them, but again, it just depends on the time of day. It's going to take a while, and going through a manuscript, especially depending on how big of a manuscript you have, it's going to take a minute. So be patient, wait a couple of weeks. I believe I said 4 to 6. If you don't hear anything back, please email me. If I don't get back to you in a day, I will get back to you in that week though. And again, I'm always happy to update you on the process, where we're at. Again, we're also do free hour consultations beforehand if you want to, before you submit to publish. That you get on a call with me and I talk to you about everything, about how we work, what we do. We do both hybrid and traditional publishing. The main difference is price, and then the availability of royalties you get from each book. And again, when we talk, I'm literally open the book. I'm happy to go through that with you. So again, you have a clear understanding of what investment you're making with your time, with your money, and with your resources, with my resources, what we're providing you, and what again you might need. For example, some authors may already have a cover designer picked out that's already started working on a cover for them. So they may not need another cover designer, or they might want a new cover, like how I did for the paperback and the hardback. So again, not everyone's getting the same package deal, because everyone's book is different and goes through a different process. So again, knowing to, as well as being patient, again, being open-minded, knowing that, like I said, if I say, you know what, we can't, even if you meet all the criteria, and I'm like, we just don't have the bandwidth right now to publish a 10th book this year. So, maybe we keep you and say, we can call you back when we have open submissions again, or call you back. But if you're like, no, I want to get this published now, again, let me know. This is your baby. And I'm always going to be open and honest with you about, okay, this is where we're at, or this is why we can't take you. And again, giving you options of other people who may be open to accepting your submission. Because again, your book deserves a home, and it will find one, however it goes. But knowing that I'm here to, again, be open and honest, which not every publisher attests to. But I really try to be open and honest with my authors, because I want them to understand the industry they're going into and how it works, from manuscript to book publishing to afterwards promoting book tours, etc. So I want you to be informed, and I want you to ask me questions. Trust me, I have an answer to all of them, but I want you to ask me questions, whatever it may be. If you're like, I don't really know how to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, well, we have people who do that, or we have book coaching, or we have a PR team, or we have this, or we have that. Like, I want you to know that I'm here to guide you. I'm here to make sure you understand what you're signing, because you will be in a contract. So I will, again, ask me as many questions as you need for that too. I've had stints with other clients in the past that, they sign off on things and then they come back to me 2 months later, like, what happened? Why are we doing this? I'm like, well, we signed the contract. You didn't read. So again, please, read over when, if you do get accepted and we start a contract, like, read over it, ask me questions. No, again, I'm, I, of course, legally I have to put like a timeline of when it to be signed. But again, things happen. If you need it, like, hey, I need more time to discuss things, or hey, I need more time to like look over things, that's fine. Again, I really want this to be a open process for you and for me. And I want people to know that I'm here to be a person of support, and I'm here to be like, communication is very big for me. You like, I don't do authors that are sitbacks. So if you're just like, here's the manuscript, I'll see you in a year. Come back. Let me reel you in. Come back, come back. I really want you to be an active participant in your book, because again, we are active book parents. So you're going to be an active book parent today. You're not going to shelve me off. Nope, nope, nope. Come back. Like, talk to the editor or ask me about the book cover. What ideas do you have? How do you want your book tour to look like? Like, I want you to be an active part of the book process. Again, there are editors, book publishers who are like, you know what? Give me the manuscript. We got everything. You just got to smile and look pretty for photos. And if that's what you want, then I'm not the person for you, but I can surely recommend you to someone who is. So just knowing that if you are submitting and wanting to be published by us, that you have to be an active person in the process. Because even though I say it does take me a while, maybe a week to get back to emails, or you will get an email from me. Every month I do a monthly checkup for all my authors. You will get emails from me. You will, hey, how are you doing? Can we meet? Can we meet? No? Okay, next week. How about, in the next couple of days? Like, what's going on? Like, this is the I always say they have homework. So like, this is the homework we're going over. These are the things I need to have done. These are the things I need you to have done. Again, I want you to be an active participant because I want you to understand the book publishing process, and know that just because you publish one book with Winnie does not mean every book afterwards it's going to be published by me. And that's completely fine. And if you decide, you know what, I'm going to publish this book or this series with someone else, you know what to ask them, the steps, okay, I'm not getting my fair share of royalties, or okay, why can't I talk to the cover designer, or how can I communicate that this is what I want? Or, you want to also know what you're getting yourself into, especially because these are your babies, and you don't want to give your baby to somebody and they kind of just throw them out the window. Like, you want them to take care of it. And the only way you know that is being attentive and being an active participant in the process. So biggest tip, again, just knowing that, you're going to have to be an active participant, and understanding what that looks like. And if you don't know what that looks like, or you don't know how that would work, again, I'm free to do an hour consultation with you and talk to you about like what we do, our process, and if you're a great fit. And if you are, submit, and, we go from there. But yeah. And again, always, if you are like, you know what, I do write cookbooks, but I don't know any cookbook publishers, reach out to me. I have a stack of people I can I can go poke. So, if always knowing that, like, I'm again here to be a resource. So if you ever need help or questions or guidance about the book publishing process, or about finding other publishers, it's always best to ask other people, ask other authors that may be in that genre that you see that are also published under indie presses, or again, researching like top indie presses in your area, seeing local indie presses and publishers in your state or in your country. That's always, I think, is a good way to help narrow or funnel down your options. Always looking for people who are in your area locally, because it's easier to connect with them, get with them, talk to them, because they might be down the street. So those are kind of my tips about finding publishers, about my submission process. But yeah, and again, I'm always open to answer more questions whenever anyone needs it. Yes, now the answering, it's have to change on my website. I said it usually takes me a couple of days. It's now taking me a couple of weeks. So,
Yes.
again, if you have any questions, just be patient, but I promise you they will be answered.
Definitely. And so if you're looking for good collaborative process. You want some creative control. You want educational experience where you, while you're publishing, you get to know kind of the ins and outs of it. Winnie's publishing company is where it's at. You want to go to Wynn's Books. Normally, I ask kind of like what your reading recommendations are, but I want to ask you, what's on your manuscript wish list? What book would you just be like, what type of tropes or books would you really want to see?
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. I think I'm really into, again, fantasy and mythology. So anything with gods and goddesses, or fairy tale retellings. And I know you guys just really different, and I have to buy it. So don't even worry about that one. But definitely fantasy retelling, or excuse me, fairy tale retellings. But big one. Anything mythology, lore. I'm such a, I just love history and I love learning about different cultures. So if you can teach me something, oh, I am there. And if you can teach me something and it has like fairies and dragons in it, oh, I'm seated. Like that, bread and butter, babes. I love that. So definitely anything with that. Things with, again, very dynamic storytelling. I am a sucker for romance. I'm not a sucker for love triangles. So just to put that out there, I don't mind writing one if I have to because of the character dynamics. But I definitely, I'm just like, just either everyone get together or no one get together. All of this, we're making triangles and squares and rectangles and hexagons. We just either you're together or we're not. Why are we doing this? So, but I definitely am a sucker for romance. Good romance. Don't cheat me out. Good romance, and again, also time travel. I mean, I that's what Child of Tempest started off with. It was just me thinking, I'm like, what if a bratty teenage boy going to college could, control time? And now it's this whole monster. He's also this whole monster, but but definitely, again, things that can, anything with culture and history, mixed with fantasy and lore are my bread and butter. I love to read. I love to collect. I love to buy.
So,
So
guys, if you're writing that, take a note, check out Wynn's Books and see all the resources and submit. Do your studies, schedule a consult if you're not sure, and go ahead and submit. Please follow Winnie for all the good she's got. Subscribe. She drops some amazing gems in your inbox. It's not one of those emails that you're going to want to skip or send to spam. There's some really good nuggets and information. She has great book recs, all of that. So readers, my fellow creatives, definitely tap into everything she's got going on in her creative corner of the world there. So with that being said, you have already dropped a lot of gems, but we don't want you leaving out without dropping some blurred inspiration for us. What is something you want our readers and creatives to know and to feel inspired with?
I want them to know that you're always be open to learning more. Again, even though I said earlier, like I will have an answer to all your questions. I'm still learning too. I'm still learning to answer more questions and ask more questions that need answers too. So know that the creative process is always something you're learning, and something that you'll always be forever learning in. And don't feel that you, like, if you ever feel like, oh, I've learned everything, you haven't learned everything, because every story hasn't been written, every picture hasn't been created or painted or designed. So knowing that, knowledge is power, and, you can never learn too much of one thing, and there's always something else to learn or be inspired from someone else. And again, I try to, again, be honest and open with my authors and writers and other clients that, you know, I I'm learning on this journey with you, and you can always teach me new things. I can definitely always teach you new things as well. And again, as I grow, I want to grow, I want you to grow as well. So, always keeping your mind open to learning and understanding new things and new processes. And I think that's really, that's how you can start looking at the world in a glittery pink lens.
I love that. I love that. So thank you so much for just taking time out to be with us and to connect with everybody. Excited to see everything you've got going on. Guys, please follow, support. And if you love the Novel Creature Network, please please like, share, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. But thank you so much for being a part of this today. And to everyone who's watching, happy reading and tune in next time.
Bye, y'all.